minute. And thanks as always to the sponsors and you for joining us. And we're on here. We're going to go live now, so here we go. Well, thanks for joining us on Facebook and YouTube Live. Over the weekend, we're talking about respective clubs tonight. Over the weekend, Newcastle could only take a point against struggling Bournemouth. I think personally their mind's on the cup final coming up. Middlesbrough expected to all 3 points away against struggling Cardiff. Hartlepool drew 2-2 against Sutton United. I was invited to that game, but I couldn't go. And Darlington, they get walked 3-1 away at Boston United. And Sunderland, big Tony Mowbray, my old mate. Well, they remain 7th in the table. So they won 1-0, 7th in the table. Newcastle remain 4th in the Premier League. Borough, as I say, sitting 3rd. Sheffield United Wednesday, what a game that's going to be. Hartlepool remain 3rd bottom. Keith Kills got his work cut out at Hartlepool for sure. And Darlington, they stay 3rd top. So, yeah, if you want to get involved, give us a message. I've got things here. Well, Borough fans, you know, I do Facebook Lives after every Borough game. And on Saturday, I was more than happy with the result, delighted with the result. 3 good goals. Foz, Archer, McGree, the goal scorers. The only weak link was the goalkeeper, Stefan. I personally think he's going to be a problem in the key games. Takes too many chances, can't hit it long. The reason he can't hit it long is because there's no aerial threat, there's no aerial power, there's no aggressiveness. Akpom and Archer's 5'0". Akpom's like Marcelo, he's not a big competitive striker. So if he hits it long, nobody's going to win it. If he hits it to the right, Foz ain't going to get it. McGree ain't going to win it. So really has to play it short. But when he's playing it short, the ball, some people had the cheek and audacity on Saturday to say that other people were saying that Paddy didn't anticipate the pass. Are you joking? It was a poor ball. It ran by him. He's carried it, the goalkeeper, Stefan. Then he's played it, like inside right, not centre, inside right. Paddy's thrown his cell, like a sliding tackle to try and win the ball. The guy next past him, Paddy's out the game, squares it, bang, goal. And people are playing him. If you blame Paddy, you want to change your sport. You've not got a clue what you're on about. Matthew King, take a point at Sheffield United. I know we'd like a win, but we have to be realistic. Well, Matthew, if we go there and actually win, look, I don't think we will change our game for anyone. I think that's one of the great things about Carrick. No matter who we play, where we go, home or away, we want to go and play attacking, free-flowing football and try and win a game of football. And I think he will go with the same mentality. I don't see him changing it, no matter how good they are. I mean, there's a 10-point gap at the minute. Imagine we win, 7-point gap. Anything can happen. We've got about 14 games left. Evening, Bernie. Late night for me, this. Tom Corrigo. How you doing, Tom? Get him up, Tom. Tom's a boxing trainer. Boxing gym over at Billingham. He's a fit lad, Tom. He's not a bad footballer either. Maybe you could get on the bench for Middlesbrough. Good old Tom boy. So keep them coming. I'm going to read these. So anyway, talk about Saturday. So Middlesbrough deserved the win. Sheffield, totally different ball game. They're a very good team. As I say, there's a 10-point gulf. I personally think that Burnley's gone. I mean, there's a massive gulf between us and them. But Sheffield, it's a possibility. But shifting away from North East, I watched the Liverpool game there. Liverpool were too good for Everton. Sean Dyche's great first game, great victory. But tonight, Liverpool were at it. Mo Salah. I don't know what Pickford, North East lad. I don't know what he was doing for the first goal. It was bizarre. The ball's got whipped in for the left. He's left Salah, went for the man behind Salah, and Salah's put it into the empty net. Hi, Beanie, Steve Angel, whatever. And Beanie, yeah, I like that name. Hope you're well. I attend all home matches. Always wondered what that large window of in the centre of the south stand. So hope you're well. I attend all matches. Always wondered what that large window of in the centre of the south stand. I don't know, to be honest, Steve. If you send me a picture, I'll be able to describe it, and I never really noticed it. Is it that big that you can't miss it? Don't really know what you're on about. I don't mean to be Beanie, sorry. Bernie, yeah. Hey, Steve, don't worry about it. I've been called worse than Beanie. Don't worry about it. Here's one here. So, Tim the Borough fan says, can Borough... is it the police area where the PA man goes into? Evening, Bernie, do you think Carrick will change the team? I don't, Jeffrey. I don't. Yeah, Steve, the box you're talking about might be... Yeah, is that I sit in the main stand to the right? That's where the PA guy sits. I didn't see who used to sit there, but there's a new guy in there now who's sitting there, and the police, I think, go in there as well. Ian May says, evening, Bernie. Ian, get the window ready. I'm coming, boy. Evening, Bernard. You know, he's calling me Bernard now. So, can Borough finish the top two, Bernie, if you're Tim the Borough fan? Well, look, there's 15 games left. I don't see why we can't. I mean, as I say, they're 10 points above us. They've got a game in hand. We've played 31, they've played 30, so they've got that game in hand as well. And Burnley, as I say, they're 17 points away. They can only blow it, really, if we're being realistic. Amy Buttery, hi Amy. Just been talking to ex-Borough player Jacob Butterfield today, and he hopes of Borough making the playoffs. Butterfield, there's a blast for the past. Yeah, Jacob Butterfield. Joe, the Borough fan, says Stefan is a liability. Well, listen, I've watched them all season. I'm not a goalkeeping expert, but I've beat a few keepers. I've been up against some of the best goalkeepers in the country, i.e. Neville Southall at Everton, Peter Schmeichel, arguably the best keeper in the world. I know what they were all about and how good they were. Looking forward for Wednesday, hopefully 3 points for Ethan. Hi, Ethan. Thank you. Always wondered. I sit West Stand next tunnel. Sorry, Steve. I know what you're talking about now. Is the lad put us right? So Warnock at Huddersfield. Hey, Matthew King. That would be interesting, wouldn't it? Can he get them out of the drop zone? Do you know what? I think he will. He's got what, 16 games, whatever, to get them clear. There's only a few point gap, a few teams above them. He's got the clout and the mentality and the background and the he's done it all before. I don't see how he can't. But good luck to him. I was talking the other day to somebody, I met Gary, and he was saying that Warnock and Pulis have more or less chucked it. They've never chucked it. If money comes in and there's a job there, they're going to take it. If we beat Sheffield United, then it's game on up the Borough. I agree. He's at Scunthorpe United. Who is? So we've got Warnock at Huddersfield, eh? He's at Scunthorpe United. I heard today, I've not really looked in it, I've been busy today, but I heard that Warnock had gone to... Michael Dixburn says, whatever happened to that COVID testimonial that was mentioned during the pandemic by Beck? He's talking about Mikael Beck and Fjordhoff. All these previous superstars agreed it and never anything about it since. You heard anything? Well, Michael, at the time it was a great idea, but there's a lot of logistics behind it. You need policing, you need money, you need to pay the travel fare. I don't think the club's going to do that, do you? I don't think the club would pay it. So it would have to be Beck and Fjordhoff that put the kitty together to get all the players to fly in and accommodation and pay for the policing and then whatever we made. So I think Jacob Butterfield, Scunthorpe United. Oh, sorry. Yeah, Jacob Butterfield, Scunthorpe United. Yeah, so the logistics, it's a great idea with Mikael Beck. During the pandemic, if you don't know, Mikael Beck, former Borough striker, used to play with Ravanelli, Fabrizio Ravanelli, the colourful Italian that was called the White Feather, who used to give him stick every game he played. He came up with an idea during the pandemic that we should have a game to raise money for charities or whatever, and get all the players back like Janino and Rav and all that. And it's never happened. But as I say, at the time he says it, and I'm sure he meant it, I think he's a good guy, but he's probably not looking at the big picture. The club ain't going to pay for Mikael Beck's idea of bringing all the players in, flying them all in, giving them accommodation, paying for policing, paying for this, paying for that. Who's going to fit the bill? It ain't going to be the club, because it's not their idea. So I think probably it's more that reality setting. Colin Fright, hi Colin, hi Bernard. I love getting called Bernard. It's no Sunday, you can call me anything. Hope we can hang on to Carrick, can see the vultures circling. Oh, there's no doubt Colin will be envious eyes up and down the country looking at Michael Carrick's progress and what he's done in a short period, and the football we're playing and we're entertaining and we're winning and we're sitting pretty in third. All the best, Bernie, from sunny Australia. First time I have caught you live on here. Great channel. Tom Savage. Hiya, Tom. Australia. What part of Australia, Tom? I've been to Australia. Evening, Ben. Looking forward to Wednesday. Borough fan. Yeah, up the effing Borough, he says. Where are we? Yeah. Well, yeah, as I say, there's going to be envious eyes watching Carrick, but Carrick's, he's still a novice. I'm sure his feet's firmly in the ground. He knows that as quick as it goes well for you, it can soon turn overnight. And then the vultures aren't chasing you, they're on your back, they want to eat you. Mikael Vengebeck, Leslie Coates says, Enter going down. I still think they've got a better chance with Sean Dyche in charge, Leslie. You know, he's got a pedigree of keeping Burnley up for many years. And don't forget, he gets sacked and then Burnley went down. I'm not saying they've stayed up with him, but I thought at the time it'd be better to hang on the guy that you know, who's done it before. Warnock, new Huddersfield manager, that's right. I am Mackay, is it? Queensland, currently 27 degrees at 8:10 a.m. here, sorry. You don't need to rub it in, dear God. Yeah, it's lovely and warm here, that's why I've got a jacket on. Borough Huddersfield, second to last game of the season. Haha, Matthew King. I know that Anthony Patterson says for number one for England. For number one for England. Are you referring to the game tonight? Pickford did it. Right. Yeah, he had a confrontation near the end as well. He's the first goal, I think his position is awful. I do think Keith Curran can keep Hartlepool United up, Keith Watson. Look, I hope so. You know, Hartlepool, when I think of Hartlepool, I think of the time when I arrived in Middlesbrough, that first season relegated, liquidated, bankrupt. We couldn't get into Ayresome Park because the gates were locked. I know it sounds like a movie, but it's real. Locked the gates at Ayresome Park. We couldn't get in the changing rooms. We couldn't train in the park. The first game of the season was approaching. We were training in local parks like Stewart's Park, Albert Park, any park, Dogshit Park. And that's literally where we were. And then all of a sudden, the first game's due. And we've not got a ground to play on in Hartlepool generously, despite them playing in the same day. They put a cabin, I don't know if the cabin was there or they erected the cabin, and we get changed in the cabin, and we played that very first game and ended 2-2 against Port Vale, which is a historic day. Actually, Stephen scored 2 great goals. Carrick has been fantastic, learning on the job. However, the big games, Burnley, Brighton and Sunderland all lost. And Ethan says, good to see Neil Warnock back. Neil Warnock's a character. I like Neil Warnock. Don't get me wrong, I don't know him that greatly. I've chatted to him a couple of times at the Riverside in the lounge. I've had a wee quick interview with him in front of people. I found him funny, engaging, charismatic, charming. But I don't think he's a mug and he's ruthless. And yeah, I was just disappointed. It left a bad taste in the mouth as a fan, as a former player and fan. The way he left, you know, a phone call, see you later. A guy's been in the game 40 years, 70-odd-year-old. I think he deserved a wee bit more than that. And then I remember him saying in the national radio, months ago, that he went to clear his desk on the Monday at Rockcliffe in Darlington, and he was told you're not allowed in. Come on. 72-year-old man. He deserves more respect than that. I was at the game at Hartlepool to watch you, Bernie. Thank you, Jeffrey. Jeffrey, everybody claims that. There must have been 60,000. I'm not doubting you, but there's a lot out there I do doubt. Borough Huddersfield second to last game. Yeah, we mentioned that. If it wasn't for Hartlepool, we wouldn't be here. And Jess Bernie, I was there, sat right opposite the Porter cabin. I'm glad I was going to say I'm glad you didn't rob it, but none of us had any money at the time. We didn't wear gold watches, drive big cars. We came in an old clapped out bus. If you look at it, Big Pally's got a green jumper on. I've got a tie on. Somebody's got a long coat on. We're all dressed differently. There's no club suits then. Couldn't afford them. I mean, it was like a dog and gun, if I'm honest. Mark Cooper, hiya. Evening, Billy. Hiya, Mark. A lot of points still up for grabs. Got to keep the winning mentality. I agree with you on the goalie situation. He is a worry at times. I'm hoping we can do like Forest last year. They were in a similar position and flew up the table, fingers and toes crossed up the Borough. Look, I'm in Stefan's case because he's the weak link in our team. I think 10 out of the 11 have done brilliant. Stefan gives me the jitters. I have kittens every time he gets the ball. He's slow. No, there was 6,000 fans there, strayed, well, whatever. There wasn't 60. Yeah, he's slow and laboured. He gets the ball, he'll look up, he'll have another touch. And then he's got the cheek to play balls when there's opponents up our backsides. And Paddy, as I say, you watch it. Well, it zips by Paddy. Paddy's saying, what the fuck? And he turns around and Paddy has his slide on the turf, full stretch, could have pulled his hamstring, and then it ends up in the back of the net. As I say, Stefan done it again against Sunderland in the derby game. We got off the hook. We forget the ones that don't go in. There's more than 2, 3 this season. There's been a catalogue of poor balls. As I say, he can't hit it long, Stefan, because there's nobody to hit. So I'll defend him on that. But he can't play it short because his passing's inaccurate and it causes problems. And by the way, stop playing it down the middle. Carrick says a couple of weeks ago, I more or less encouraged him to do that. Well, it's funny how he's not playing it right down the middle. But he's still playing it at an angle. I think he should be playing it at a deeper angle. Matt Cooper says, Evening Bernie, a lot of points still up for grabs. I mentioned that ever. To keep the winning mentality, I agree. Yeah, so I mentioned that. Sorry. Paul Gamble, hand in hat, Bernie. What's your prediction for Wednesday? I personally think it will be 1-1. Hope we can get another. Hope we can get another loan deal for Giles and Archer if we don't go up this year. I can see it being Borough Sunderland playoff final. A few people says that. Imagine that journey home for losing supporters. Hopefully we get second spot up the Borough. Well, Paul, first of all, I believe we'll be top 6. I honestly don't think Sunderland will be top 6. The reason for saying that is one of the strikers was playing tonight for Everton. Lone striking role, horrible role, winning balls. Is it Ellis? And then Big Stuart's out injured for the season. Bad injury. So they've no recognised striker, prolific striker. They've brought a young couple of strikers in, but they're novices, they're apprentices. Sunderland, for me to make top 6, need tradesmen. And they've not forked out the door. So for me, Sunderland won't make it. You're talking about Giles and Archer. Well, yeah, both in the loan. Archer over for the Villa, Giles from Wolves. But I'll tell you what, you're talking about people circling looking at Carrick. People being in their droves looking at Giles. Not for his defensive qualities, for his attacking qualities. Don't see why you won't win Wednesday. Teams need to worry about us for a change. As for you're saying 1 Woody, I think it'll be draw at best. If we won, I'd be absolutely fantastic. But that's a very difficult place to go. It will be atmospheric. They'll be in your face, the fans. The players will be in your face. If we mess about the back, they'll be crunching tackles, winning headers. There's no messing about. They're a team that's been brought up that way. And that's in their DNA. So I don't see us going there playing pretty stuff. I think there'll be a few heavy challenges. The pressure will be on. They'll know the frailties of the goalkeeper. They'll be closing him down, waiting for him to boob, waiting for him to make mistakes, and they'll go and punish us. Hopefully that's not the case, but they'll be aware where the frailty is. And for me, it's that. But then again, they have to watch Giles on the left. They have to watch Akpom, top scorer in the division. So we've got our own top men, if you like. I can see on Wednesday the winner winning by the odd goal as we both evenly matched now. Well, Keith, we went there last year. Was it 4? We went there and we were half decent when we went there. And they went to flow with us. I can't see that happening again. I definitely can't see a repeat performance of that. If we beat Sheffield United this week, we will finish in the top 2. I tell you what, I don't think anybody... Ian May, we will have a chance, but still in Sheffield United's hands, lose, even if we win, would be still 7 behind, and they have a game in hand. Well, I mentioned that they've got a game in hand, and that's always better a bird in the hand than 2 in the bush, but if they're 10 points ahead at the minute and they've got a game in hand, they still look favourites. We're running out of games. But versus Sunderland playoff final, what do you reckon, Bernie? Sean Flint, it'd be a magnificent final, wouldn't it? I mean, even I would go and watch. The last time I was at Wembley, am I right in saying this? Was the Borough Norwich game. Borough Norwich in the playoffs. And my arse had barely hit the seat, and Norwich had scored a goal, and then we get beat. Colin says, Sims, the player who was on loan at Sunderland from Everton. Sorry, yeah, I say Sims. Yeah, he was playing up front tonight. You're right, Bernie, we need a good ref Wednesday, or they'll kick us off the park. But Jeff, if we mess about, we ain't going to get time to pass it with leisure and lift our head. I mean, the last 2 teams have been poor. Cardiff struggling, huffing and puffing, pointed new manager. That was only his 3rd game. No won a game yet. 13 games, have no won a game in total. Blackpool, hopeless. I'm not taking anything away from us. We have scored, 6 goals in 2 games. Fantastic. But This is a real. This separates the wheat from the chaff. And Wednesday night, this is a big game that's on the sky. It's been around the world. Everybody can watch it. Well, not everybody will be watching it because I can't believe that Arsenal Man City game's on the same night. Anyway, we need to think 1 or 2 steps ahead on Wednesday. 1 point is no good. We want to finish second, and it's a must-win if you want to put the pressure on Sheffield. If we draw or lose, top 6 at best. Any memories of Bramall Lane as a player, Bernie? That's a good question. Yeah, I think it was either 0-0 or 1-1 at half time. It was one of I'll tell you what, this was one of Bruce's things. He used to always shout at me that. So we're at Sheffield, I'm near the dugout, same ground. I get the ball, I'm sort of on the halfway line on the left side, and I've curled the ball up the left wing for whoever's playing up front at the time to spin and get it. It's a good ball, I know it's a good ball. I'm sure the fans knew it was a good ball at the time. You know yourself it's a good ball, but anyway, it was a good ball, and I just hear, Bernie! And I turned round to Rafe and I went, what the fuck? And he went like that, well done. So that was one. So that was him winding me up and getting me motivated. Hiya Bernie, Yakubu or Viduka. 2 different type of players, both were great players. I loved Viduka because his back-end style, his goals, he was cool, he was calm. Bernie, I'll start the banter, Macron below, barcode starting the slide, wow. So where were we? Where was I talking about there? Yeah, and it was half time, and we were doing well in the league. I think we were second or third. Sheffield were up there in the top 6. Still a few games left, and as I say, we're drawn at half time. We go in, and Bruce came to me and he says, "Listen, get us a goal. Come on, get us a goal." And I remember the corner kick came in. Big Pallister got a flick to his head, and I had my back to the goal for about 14, 15 yards, and an overhead kick, and it flew in the bottom corner. You can see it, it'll be on YouTube. Watch it, it'll give you a wee boost for Wednesday night. Akpom can get 3 of those on Wednesday. So yeah, that's my memories there. Bernie, where are we here? Also, there is a Champions League game, Club Brugge versus Benfica and Borussia Dortmund versus Chelsea, also Wednesday. I mean, it's crackers, isn't it? But saying that, hey, Borough fan, I'll be watching the Borough for definite. I need to talk about them after it. I'll be doing Facebook and YouTube live after the game on Wednesday. Will Josh Coburn be in the squad next season, or best having another season on loan? Not as big as Borough. I don't know the answer to that. Richard Tuss. Hi, Rich. Look, I think Carrick is going to stamp his own authority in the team, bring in who he wants, not who's been lingering around. Coburn's a young lad. He's did very well when he's getting an opportunity. He scored 4 or 5 goals in 6, 7, 8 games, whatever. Did very well. Kid's been out on loan scoring goals. It's a good education. But the time he comes back, I think there'll be more players in the door. And probably his days are numbered. I think that's the reality. The reality. I mean, I look at Hackney. Hackney's doing fantastically well. But whose place is this Belazer going to take? The lad from Rotherham, cost 900 grand. He's going to take Howson's or Hackney. He ain't going to take Fozzie's on the right. He doesn't play it there. And he ain't going to take McGree's on the left. He doesn't play there. So it's going to be one of the 2 central midfielders. You want smart tonight, Bernie? Looks like you have been somewhere tonight and just came in. No, it's Valentine's Day tomorrow, man. I'm getting ready. Got the gear on. Grant Hall did well for us, and love to see him come back and give it a chance. Grant Hall did all right, and then he disappeared overnight. Right, I'm going to read a few of these to keep the balance, because there is other people for other clubs. Norm Newcastle, great to see Newcastle United players wearing the black and white stripes at Wembley for the Carabao Cup final. Norm, I know what you're saying, because you wear the Saudi Arabian strips away from home. So you've been told you're going to wear black and white shirts. Me personally, if I was a Newcastle fan, I think that's the way to go. Lucy Sunderland fan says, enjoying the job Tony Mowbray's doing at Sunderland. What is he really like, Bernie? What, Tony Mowbray? Mugger, my old teammate, former captain, who's coming to the parking night on the 24th of March. We'll come to that before the end of the gig. What's he like? Honesty, integrity, principles, morals. And there's not a lot of people in football have those qualities, believe me. Very few. In fact, Mugger might be the only one. Geordie George says, you still see Super Mac, Bernie? What a player he was. Hey, look, I've seen clips of him on YouTube or whatever. Obviously, I didn't see Malcolm. I remember, Matt, I used to, in the streets of Glasgow, in my council estate, I used to have big sideburns. I mean, I've still got sideburns, but I used to have big long ones, big hairy ones. Hat on sleeve, wear his mugger. Don't know what that means. Big sideburns. We used to call them Supermax. And then, lo and behold, 20, 30 years later, I'm working with Mark McDonald doing the Legend Show. But Mark McDonald was incredible to think that Malcolm Supermac is still the last England player to score 5 in a game. That was against Cyprus. I used to wind them up as the Cypriot waiters. But Mark McDonald, last player to score 5. So yes, I have seen him. I keep in touch via social network. I was on wasn't a podcast. I was on something recently. With one of the Newcastle podcasts. George says, no, sorry. Bambo Borafan. Who's your player of the season so far, Bernie? Well, I think Giles, McGree, Hackney, and number 1 for me has to be Akpom. Not just his goals. The way he's turned it around. 1-2 years, wasn't it? He was in the team, scored a couple, out the team, lost form, injured, went abroad to Greece, returns. He's been sensational. And that isn't just Akpom, that's Carrick. The way he plays, the style, the brand of football, suits him. Giles suits him. If he was playing under Pulis or Warnock or Karanka, he wouldn't have that amount of goals. Lucky enough to see Supermac play when I was younger, some player. Yeah, he was. Let me see. We'll go back to these. Have you been auditioning for The Godfather, Bernie? Sean Flint. Do you know what? I walked into Hotel Chocolate in Teesside Park the other day, and a guy says, "Oh, my daughter just says, are you in The Godfather?" What are you on about? Because I've got a black shirt on, a black jacket. Away. Yeah, so yeah, I get it, Sean. Score prediction for Wednesday, Alfie Frost. Alfie, I would say a draw would be a great result, a great point. An away win would be absolutely fantastic. It would really set the tone for the remainder of the season. But this is a really, really tough game. They are no shrinking violets. They'll put their head in, their boot in, their studs in. There'll be a great crowd there. I'm sure the travelling support for Middlesbrough will make the usual noise and get behind the side from the off for the duration of the game. But they are a good side. That's why they're 10 points above with a game in hand. So, hey, but it's what we do. Brian Ferry lookalike. Oh, Brian Ferry, you've got... Come on. I'm offended with that. There's 100 genders. Can you guess what gender I am? So I'm told. What do you think, Callum Kavanagh? Yeah, Callum's went out on loan. Obviously, I played with his dad, Graham Kavanagh. I love Cav. Cav was a great player, had a great career. Middlesbrough, played very well at Cardiff, Republic of Ireland International. I've not really watched his son, but I know he's a goal scorer. Jeff says, every time you mention Mugger, I get angry that he is not working for Borough. He's Borough through and through. Why, oh why does Sir Steve Gibson not go to him, apologise and bring him back in the fold? But Jeffrey, where are you going to put him? Carrick's doing the business here. Mugger's doing the business up there. I mean, Mugger's only about 5 points behind us or something. And he's got a game in hand. Mugger's done well. His hands have been tied. His strikers have been injured. Big Stewart, top scorer, 10 goals. He's been injured for the majority. He came back and got injured again. And Ellis has went to Everton, who's playing tonight, as I mentioned earlier. Bernie, a point is not good enough. Not if we want second spot. I'll come back to these to try and get everybody involved. Where are we? So play this season and answered that. Yeah, as I say, for me, it's Chuba Akpom. He's been sensational. Hold up play, spots of pace, losing his marker, going deep, getting turned, holding up, bringing players into play. Scored, what has he scored now? 16 league goals. 17 in total, including the cup goal. One at back at Huddersfield, Mohammed. Hi, Mohammed. Yeah, we were talking about early, Mohammed. Warnock's back, Unbelievable, isn't it? And it's Huddersfield. We play them near the end of the season. That could be a decisive game. I bet he would love to beat us, Warnock. Look, he's not a magician. He's a manager. He's a wiry old fox, like. He knows this league inside out. And... if you look at what was it, 1,500 games, something like that he's in charge of. I'm sure it was 1,500 games. In the game 40 odd year, he played and he's managed. Bernie is Praisler, whatever he is, the Howson replacement. I don't know if it's Howson or Hackney. Hackney's meant to be more attacking minded. This guy, Belazer, is more attacking minded with what I hear. So it wouldn't be Howson, it would be more Hackney. Going down to see Warnock, big fan of his, mate. I just come on. You're live now. All right. I know Warnock did a gig at the Town Hall not so long ago, didn't he? I believe it was a sellout. I believe it was very funny, very entertaining. The thing I did with Warnock when he was at Middlesbrough, it was during COVID, and I hosted the Legends Lounge every game, but back then it was, we were all out of a job or nobody was working, but the game was at the Riverside, so the game was going ahead, and they decided to have a trial in one of the lounges where you couldn't go out and watch the game, you had to watch it on the screens. Neil Warnock is 1,822 games as a manager. Wow, that's even more. I was discrediting him. So anyway, I'm at the Riverside. I'm doing the lounge and it's only staff only. There's about 50 odd staff. Anyway, after the game, I'm told that Dale Fry's going to be coming for me to interview him. So I've jotted a few questions down. Anyway, out the blue, I'm told he's not coming. It's going to be Neil Warnock. So I was just ad-libbing off the hoof. He came up, asked him about the game, whoever the opposition was, whatever the score was. And then I thought, well, I've heard him on national radio. I know he's a funny guy and he's got a bit about him and I think he's charming and charismatic, whatever. I'll just test it. Don't forget, it's the staff. It's not just the fan, it's the staff who work for the club. Anyway, I goes, by the way, Neil, can I just say, you're 72, you've not got a wrinkle. You must have a fantastic surgeon. And you could hear a pin drop. All the people that's employed with Middlesbrough daren't laugh or daren't show anything. And one right away went, what I expected. He just went, funny you say that, whatever his wife's called. I was looking in the mirror the other day and I noticed I've got a wrinkle. And then they laughed. So he proved to me that, yeah, he likes a joke. I mean, he could have went, who are you talking to? I didn't expect that because I think he's bigger than that. He's used to joking. I say he's got a bit about him. I used to love his interviews. Sometimes his interviews were better than the games. Probably were better than the games, if I'm being honest. One overrated my eyes, Graham Addison. Graham, maybe you're talking about his Middlesbrough career. Maybe you're talking about his Middlesbrough career. But his overall career, the amount of success he's had getting teams promoted and his amount of games that he's accumulated is astonishing in the modern game. 72. The thing he's still got a passion. He talks like a 25-year-old. He's full of life and vim and vigour. If our players at the time could show what he's had, the quality he had, they'd have went a wee bit further, I think. Oi, Bernie, Kate Childs. Warnock, Wilder could both play us before the end of the season. Not good for us. Wilder's not back in the game, is he? I see Karanka and Stokesley working in the local kebab shop. No, that's Turkey. Colin Fry says, you can't underestimate Hackney's importance to the team. His positive forward movement and passing, as us in the front foot, has helped us scoring plenty of goals. So you can't underestimate Hackney's importance to this team. His positive forward movement and passing. No, listen, Colin, I'm not knocking the kid. I think he's been brilliant. But we're just saying we bought a lad for 900 grand. And when you pay money, sometimes you have to justify why you're paying that amount. And he's inevitably going to get in the team. No, I think he's more like an attacking. Well, he is an attacking player. He's not a Howson. Howson is more a holding player. Hackney's the guy that sparks forward and creates things. And that's what Belazer does. So if Belazer does it in for Hackney Howson, where does he go? Tell me what you think of that call. Mohammed says, if we beat Sheffield United, do you think second place is a chance, Billy? Well, it would close the gap to 7, but they've still got a game in hand. And anything can happen. The wheels could come off. They could get a couple of suspensions, a couple of bad injuries. Touch wood, that's not the case. I'm not into injuries. But anything can happen. A couple of dodgy decisions. By God, there's dodgy decisions every day of the week now. Toughest opponent you ever came up against? Paul Gamble. Is this question time, Paul? No, the toughest opponent I came up against, there was two, was Pallister. Why? Because he was my mate. Played against him 3-4 times, Middlesbrough Man United. And tough because he knew I wasn't tough. He knew I wasn't good in the air. He knew I wasn't extremely quick. But then when I looked at him, I knew I could take him on. I knew that I could score a goal. I knew I was fitter than him. And out of 3-4 games, I've got 2 out of 3-4 against Man United. So, yeah, I think I did all right. Still owes me money. I betted him I would score. I remember we'd go for social drinks leading up to the games. It used to be in Yarm. And there was me, Pally and Curtis Fleming, and we were discussing the games coming up in the cups, and Pally had a few drinks, and so did Curtis. I'm teetotal. And the banter was flowing, and Curtis was biting at Pally. Pally saying, I'm with the big Man United, we'll just turn up and beat you and all that. Anyway, the League Cup, we played in the League Cup semi-final, 0-0 at Ersum. I should have scored at least 2. I'd just returned for get my cartilage out, and Matt Hughes missed a couple for Man U, and then we went down there. Old Trafford, there was about 60,000, rain-drenched night, semi-final, second leg. Lee Sharp got the first one. I equalised into extra time, and I'm thinking, we've got a younger team, and that they had Robbo and Paul Ince and Dennis Silva and a lot of great players. Brian McClare, who's got the big beard. Now, have you seen him? He looks like Robinson Crusoe. I heard he did a top the other night, and he came out and says to the crowd, look, don't worry about me, I've got a home. He looks like a hobo. No disrespect, but I'm just saying. Anyway, they all played that night, and anyway, extra time, Giggs scored the winner. Did you ever play against Vinnie Jones, Stuart Pearce, Gary Mabbutt, Tony Adams and Roy Keane? Yes, played against every one of them. So did you ever play against Vinnie Jones? Yes, played against Vinnie Jones for Wimbledon and when he was at Leeds United. Stuart Pearce scored a goal, it was a toe ender at the Riverside. Stuart Pearce went to close me down, and I got to it first and towed it at the Holgate end. Gary Mabbutt played for Tottenham, played down at Tottenham here and here in the top flight. Tony Adams, definitely. I've got pictures, Tony Adams tried to tackle me or kick me or whatever. And Roy Keane, yeah, I played against Roy a few times. Roy, I remember I'd been bombed by Lenny Lawrence at the time. Lenny's my pal now. He might not be my pal, but I'm his pal. And he's come at the Parkadoo as well. I remember Lenny had banished me to train with my book boys through at Wilton. I'd been thrown out the first team. And anyway, eventually get recalled. I'm back training with the first team. I'm on the bench. We play Nottingham Forest. Roy, for whatever reason, I know he's a midfielder betrayed, he was playing centre half. And I remember all the fans in the Holgate, because it wasn't going to plan. And all the fans in the Holgate were chanting my name. Bernie Slaven, thousands of them chanting. Great, I was all chuffed. Because they didn't see me for about 2.5 months, because I'd been training with my boot boys out the first team scene. And I always remember jogging on, and I go right up against Roy, my back into him, and he's like, what's this all about? I said, well, I've disappeared off the radar for 2.5 months, Roy. And he just sort of a laugh. But Roy made one of his first Republic games in Spain. And he was in the same squad. And I met Roy more than a few. I used to have nights out in Manchester, obviously. Teetotaler. No, Roy, me. No, hey, look, Roy, I think he's a great pundit. I love him. He says more than 30 seconds in some of the half-wits saying 15 minutes. He's right to the bone, and I love his style. I loved him as a player. I love him as a pundit. He's very the few I'm attracted to. Amy says, I love Neil Warnock in some sort of role at the club. He'd end up chinning Bowser, though. Look, people don't want confrontation, and probably that's why they phone him, because they know he's a fiery character. But I think he's too long in the tooth to go out and start punching people. I think it'd be verbally, but some people still don't want to face the verbal abuse. You know, if you do wrong, you deserve to get it, don't you? Or if you want to, for me, it's classless. If you want to sack somebody, or if I wanted to sack somebody, or if somebody annoys me, and I can't sleep at night for the annoyance or whatever somebody's said, whatever, I will go and confront them to the face. I don't want to fight. I want to say it verbally and get it off my chest and give it back, whatever I've heard. And that's the way I've always operated. Player of the season for Borough, without a doubt, is Akpom. That's what I says, Andrew. Scoring the amount of goals this season. Not just his goals, Andrew. His play, his link-up play, his hold-up play, his movement. Why is it game of two halves with Borough? Against Cardiff, we looked like world beaters. In the second half, mediocre team. Yeah, we were, David. Second half, we dipped. Look, they had to try and come back in it. They had a lot of the ball, but we still had the best chances and ended up creating the best chances and scoring the goal. Can remember Ripley having a go at Vinnie Jones at Ersum Park. Tell you what, Stuart Ripley, who went on to Blackburn fame, won the Premier League. He used to supply Shearer and Sutton Alan Shearer, Chris Sutton, and Will Cox was another wing. Ripley was in one wing. They used to give the service in. But yeah, when we played against Vinnie Jones, Ripley had a good old ding-dong, but Ripley was strong. I remember seeing him tune it was a frozen bit of meat. I'm sure it was chicken. We were on the bus and we were heading to a away game. We used to leave on the Friday afternoon for the Saturday game, and I remember him saying it's still frozen. He was just eating this chicken bone or chicken whatever. He was a tough nut. Very intelligent, by the way. He's now a solicitor. Stuart Ripley, yeah, solicitor. Any players who was not in the squad with Parky? What do you mean, any players going who was not in the squad with Parky? Oh yeah, outsiders, yeah, there'll be a few, but in the main it's about 86 teams. So I just want to plug it. I think I've written it down here. I know I've had. Right, so Gary Parkinson, please don't get fed up with it because it's important. We've sold all the tables at the town hall. It holds 840. I believe there's a good 550, maybe even 600 gone. I'm sure it will be sold out by the time the 24th of March comes. It's at the town hall. All the 86 lads are going to be there. Bruce Raiff's going to return, the former manager who went on to Arsenal, who signed Dennis Bergkamp, who we used to call, I'll tell it on the night, who we used to call Bruce. Steve Gibson, chairman, who's been at Middlesbrough for many, many years. He's going to make an appearance to support Parky. Tony Mowbray, who's Sunderland manager, obviously he's coming because he was captain of that 86 team, and all the lads for 86 are going to come. And we're going to have Chris McGlade's going to be the comedian on the night. We'll have a bit of entertainment. We'll have the screens with flashbacks to the 86 at the town hall. Remember with a couple of civic receptions? Still no word from Colin Todd. Do you know what? No. Colin Todd's the only one that's not replied. Warnock has blamed Scott for his sacking. He says he did not get him the players he wanted. Neither could have called him a weasel. I called him a weasel. He called him a weasel. Look, experienced managers, flicking it. Experienced managers like Warnock and a Pulis. I know he wasn't there, Pulis. These young directors of football are a problem to experienced managers because experienced managers are used to ruling the roost and doing what they want to do and trying to get who they want. When you put a director of coaching, he's the equivalent between the coach, because there's very few managers, Carrick's a coach, then there's the director of coaching of football, whatever he's called, and then you've got the chief executive chairman, and he's the gopher in between. Now, he has to favour the two up there before he favours the coach. Why? Because they pay him, they employ him. The coach doesn't. And it happens at all clubs, not just Middlesbrough. But we have to understand how it operates now. Me, if I was a Warnock, I wouldn't like a 40-year-old telling me how to pick players and who I should pick when I've been in the game for 40 years and played football. I wouldn't like that. I couldn't deal with that. I couldn't cope with that. Could you? Obviously, Carrick can because he's a novice. He's inexperienced. It's a big job. It's a good job. He's working under arguably the best chairman in the country. So it suits Carrick to learn this way. But as time rolls on, and if he's here a couple of years, there will be a time when he'll be at loggerheads. That's inevitable. It's inevitable. Because the middle guy has to please the top two guys because they hold the purse strings and they employ him. And he can't be seen to override day two. He can override the coach, can't override day two. Obviously, they want it to be the four of them all saying, yeah, that's great. But that ain't always going to happen. Of course it's not. Bernie, is it true that it's a great Ali Brownlee 7-year anniversary tomorrow? The two of you in Matchday Radio have brought us all some great memories. True Teesside legend for Tom Savage. Tom, somebody mentioned it to me. I'm sure something will come up on my phone tomorrow. Yeah, look, Ali Brownlee, if you don't know who Ali Brownlee, whether you're Newcastle, Sunderland, whoever you support, Ali Brownlee and myself worked together on radio. We did the commentaries at Middlesbrough every borough game. We did it for 10 years. We did over 500 games. We did 5 cup finals, 2 years travelling around Europe. Then we went to New York about 4 or 5 months before we lost the radio contract. We went to New York and won a gold radio award. And then 4 or 5 months later, we lost it. And then Ali went to the BBC. And then I stayed put with Century Reel, whoever it was at the time. And then the rest history. But Ali taught me everything I know about radio or talking, or he was my mentor, my coolant. He kept me right when I was losing it, which takes some doing. Ian Baird, best writer you played with, was gutted when he left for Hearts offshore. Yeah, Ian Baird, he was my best writing partner. So yeah, Ali Brownlee should never be forgotten. He would have been the best PR man at Middlesbrough Football Club. He had a lot. And how good was the radio commentary with you and Ali? Well, the commentary was, Ali was blinkered, biased, sometimes stupid, although he wasn't stupid, he was very clever. But he was great at his job. And he would wind me up. And I would bite. And that would make good radio. Ali was probably in bed with the club. I was in bed with myself. Or somebody else, but no, the football club. I've never been in bed with anybody, whether it's in the football world or whatever. I'm just me. I've got an opinion. I stick to it. People ain't going to stop me having an opinion. I know the world's trying to stop everybody, but yeah, Ali was just a very, very nice guy. And it just states again and confirmed what I've always believed, that there's no justice in this world. You know, when you see some of the scumbags that's walking about these days and causing mayhem and killing and murdering and bombing. And Ali was one of the most generous, kindest, charitable guys going. I loved your Borough TV days. Was that a class to see you and Ali? Good laugh together. Yeah, so obviously there's reminiscing because it's Ali's tomorrow. Passed away several years ago. But yeah, we had some great times, me and Ali. Some fantastic times, great memories, loads of pictures. I'll try and dig them out for Wednesday. Any players? No, I've read that. Where are we? How come when you send your bits via messages you never reply? Are you just lazy? No, I'm busy, Leslie. I've got a few things to do. What was the Northern League like when you played for Sinners, Bernie? Was it a decent standard, Graham? Graham, I enjoyed it. I didn't have to play. It's like David Wheater. He's at Darlington now. I stopped playing, and there was a guy who worked for Bulk, Steve Gibson's company. A guy called Stuart Colby, who played, by all accounts, a very, very good player, a tough player. He was the manager. And in between my radio duties, he says, why don't you come and you can play? And I ended up playing 20-odd games, scored as many goals, had a few kicks and bruises, but I loved it, I enjoyed it. The adrenaline and the hunger was still there. I just love football. So I loved it. But there was a few nutcases in it. But we came, I think it was second. Was it Bedlington finished top? We've got a medal, runners-up medal, whatever. But I enjoyed it. I did enjoy it. It's just a shame that Billiamson's on the park's gone now, isn't it? Lost ball, too much in the middle, but what a day in trip, Rob tip. Yeah, we did, Rob, but we won the game, so we can go over that. Hackney's the next big thing. Unbelievable talent, Richard Tuss. Richard, I hope you're right, but I've seen this. I've been in Teesside, I see this regular for 85, 86 season till now. 30 odd years, more than 30 odd years, and I've seen players come and go like that. I've heard players, fans going overboard. Fantastic, what a player, and they're unbelievable. He's going to go at the top, and then they disappear. They fall down a hole in Linthorpe Road. You never see them again. Anything can happen. Carrick doesn't owe Hackney anything. Hackney came in when Big Leo Perkovic was in charge. Liddell knew more about him than anybody, and probably he's pushed him, Leo, to play him, and Leo bowed to that and gave him his chance. But for that, he doesn't get in. But Carrick owes Hackney nothing. I mean, managers have got money, and managers sign players or coaches, Carrick's a coach, then they'll bring in their own players. You might think Hackney's great. He might think there's somebody better than Hackney, more experience, scores more goals than Hackney. And that's how it goes. Who's the best player you played with? Steve Thorpe. We'll come back to that in a minute. Sad to hear about Tony Lee, ex-Anthony manager, passing. Do you know what, Keith? I didn't know. Condolences to Tony's family. I've pressed the wrong button here. I need to get the technician in to put that back on. Apologies. Well, somebody just says that Tony Lee was he's been manager for years in Northern League. Claire? Tony Lee was the manager for Northern League. Seymour was a player as well, and a very good one. He had a bit of charm about him, and I've just been told he sadly passed away. So condolences to his family. I know his family. I knew Tony. Tony was a character. He actually tried to get me, go dressed him, to Bishop Auckland. Once again, you're right, Bernie. Hackney is great, but Jones was last season. Yeah, that's right. Jones was the next best thing, and Jones has disappeared now. People are saying, "Oh, he's off the boil. Get rid of him." Da 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 da. I've seen young kid for years and years at Middlesbrough. You can't kid me. I've been here since 85, 86. I've seen the lot. I've not missed a game. I've either played them or watched them. So who's the best player you played with? Pallister and McGrath, Paul McGrath, centre halves. They're the best players I've played up against, the best players that I've seen, as in, stylish, cultured. For centre backs, usually centre backs are hammer throwers, but those two had more than that. I mean, I've seen Paul McGrath playing against the best players in the world. They never trained Big Paul. I've seen him against Van Basten, Rudy Hullet, for Holland, for the Republic. I played against him Villa, the semi-final of the Zenith. He played for Man United, Big Paul, of course. But he was some player. And Pallister obviously won everything in the game at Manchester United. He went on to prove what a great player he was. Who's the best player in your opinion who has played for Borough? So who's the best player you played with? Who's the best player that's played for Borough? I think there's many, too many to mention. Paul Merson. There's loads. Janino, Ravenelli was colourful. But I go for longevity. There's not enough of these guys stayed around. You know, great players come and go. Boxic, magnificent player. One of the greatest ever. But is he a Borough great? No, because he was a fly-by-night. So if you want to talk about Viduka, obviously we mentioned him earlier. Jimmy Floyd was a great striker. Gareth Southgate, Hugo Ehog, centre-backs were terrific. Gaza came, but Gaza was all over the place. I think Gaza's remembered more for driving the bus than he is for playing for Borough. I love Gaza. Gaza was a character. I think his heart was in the right place. Did you ever play with Stephen Bell? How much potential did he have? I never played with Stephen Bell. Stephen Bell, if you don't know, was a young player before I came to... Sorry. Again, it's chaos in the YouTube channel. I need to get something done about this. So we have to get that sorted again. Stephen Bell was a young kid who played under Malcolm Allison. And Malcolm Seymour looked after him, gave him a long-term contract. By all accounts, great player. But unfortunately, what I hate. And the drink caught with him. He went out of the game and finished at a tender age. So his career was cut short. So yeah, who's the best player? There's loads at Middlesbrough. I've seen them all. What do you think has happened to Jones, Bernie? He's either not getting enough playing time or he can't be asked. I don't think he can't be asked. I think the boys, when he first came in, breath of fresh air, direct, skillful, fearless, all the talent. Then he was left out, in and out the team. That affects your confidence, especially when you're a regular. The fans were chanting his name regular. That's not happening. And now he knows that there's other players in that the new guy has brought in, Carrick. And he knows that he's on borrowed time. And to get in that team to start every game, he has to really pull up trees and really, really show what he's got. But what he's lost is a bit of confidence, a bit of zip. He's lost that fearless factor because he used to just run at players. Now he's raining the ball and passing it back and square. And when he first came in, he was a breath of fresh air. So I think it's just added up. And he's not been as vibrant as he was when he first came in the team. I still think he's got qualities. I still think he could play an important part for them at the end of the season. But I think it's going to be a bit part. I don't think he's going to be a regular. David, that's my Tottenhamsworth. I used to live in newspaper, Sally Brownlee in Beach Grove Road. James Wheatley. What paper did Ali get? The Times, The Guardian. Ali was a clever lad, you know. Clever lad was Ali. Kill Chelsea's Ali legend. Come to our school a few times with Musto, Carlos Marinelli, etc. Yeah, Ali, every kid, every parent, every teacher, everybody all over Teesside would know Ali Brownlee. And if they didn't know him personally, they'd have certainly heard him. He was loud. He was brash. He was funny. Ultra talented. He was ultra professional. I mean, I don't give a toss who does the BBC commentary for the next 100, 200 years. Nobody will ever get near Ali Brownlee. Ali was a one-off. People say that. Ali was a one-off and nobody could touch him. There's only one Ali Brownlee, What a legend, just like you, Bernie, Rob. Ali was a true, genuine borough lad, loved everything about Middlesbrough. Sorry about spelling, haven't stopped drinking from Saturday. Return trip as I have a week off. Don't worry about it, Rob. How did you rate Robbie Mustoe, Bernie? I thought he was massively underrated. Robbie Mustoe was like an Adam Clayton. He was a hard-working, like Nobby Stiles probably. I know Nobby came to Middlesbrough at the tail end of his career, Man United star, World Cup star for England, but guys that won the ball and gave it to people who could play. And I think that's what Robbie was. I wouldn't pay to watch Robbie or Clayton Blackmore or probably Nobby Stiles, but I know how important they are. Johnny Howson does it at Middlesbrough. Wins the ball and gives it to players that can play. That's not discrediting them. That's being realistic. I wouldn't pay to watch any of those guys. I pay to watch goal scorers, pay to watch wingers, tricky players, attacking players. I wouldn't pay to watch any defenders. I wouldn't pay to watch negative holding midfielders. So Robbie was a great player for Middlesbrough, great ambassador, doing very well over in America now, doing television, doing TV work. I think over there initially coaching, because the last time I seen Robbie was in Singapore. There was a groupie from Middlesbrough went over there to play the five-a-side Singapore. Robbie wasn't flying back here. I'm sure he was flying off to America, where he was going to do coaching. His wife and family were flying out with him. And then within, I don't know, 6-7 months, he had a TV job. It all turned full circle, so well done to him. He's working with Robbie Earl. Robbie used to play for Portville, big stand in Portville, the Potteries. I don't know what's happening on YouTube. Robbie works for NBC. Yeah, NBC, that's who it is. I can see through the screen. Maybe you can still see me. Need to get a technician back to you. Mean the cross-dresser. Cross-dresser. I'm offended. Annette Nelly Hughes. Bernie, how many hat-tricks did you score for Borough? Hat-tricks for Borough, I scored 7. So I played 7.5 years for Middlesbrough. I scored 7 hat-tricks. I scored in all the divisions, first, second, third, whatever it is. But 7, 10 in total for my career. But yeah, and I've still got them all. I've still got them. And I cherish them, treasure them. Shirts not so much, but balls, hat-tricks are nice, aren't they? I mean, did Akpom get I know he scored a hat-trick. I hope he get the match ball. I hope he didn't have to pay for it. I don't know if modern players pay for them. In our day, you just got them under there and that was it, in the bag and away. I remember taking my son to Haworth to watch the lads train, and we waited for autographs afterwards. My son was about, if you hear Madison, was about 7 at the time, and Boxic, excuse me, wouldn't sign his book. Tosser, I was fuming. Graham, I don't understand anybody. Look, there's obviously some people don't sign it for a reason. There might be, and I don't think there's any excuses, but to defend, and some people might be in a hurry, some people might have other things in mind, they might have had a bad phone call, there might be something wrong. So I don't know. But if they've got time in their hand and they're not rushing to anything, just to snub a 7-year-old kid is just, well, it's just not on. It's unacceptable. Because at the end of the day, I know it's no saying, without the fans there's no games. And they invest all their time and money, what 40, 50 hour shifts to get money, you guys do, to go and watch your beloved team, and the least you can do is sign an autograph for your kiddie. I've seen players doing it. I won't mention who. I've seen players doing it at international level, and I found it degrading, disgusting, and yeah. I would be really annoyed at that as well. No need for it. John Henry was class. Gary Fry, Henry was a great player. Scored the goal of it was voted best goal, wasn't it, when he ran against Millwall at Ersum? I was playing that game and Henry just got it on the edge of the 18-yard box on the right, danced by I don't know how many players, kept his balance as he entered the opponent's box and drilled it past the keeper at the Hall end. What a goal. Voted best goal in Middlesbrough's history. I'm going to read a few of these and then that'll be it. So where are we? So how's Parky doing? So if you want to, the tickets left, but they're only for the balcony. All the tables for the Parky doing the 24th of March. All the money goes to charity, Parky's charity for his 24-hour care. He's got what you call locked-in syndrome. He's paralysed, can only communicate via his eyes. He's had it since 2010. And we need to raise as much money as possible to keep his 24-hour care. He's surrounded by a great family, but he still needs a carer that stays in the house. And it's not a big house. I've been in it. And the reason I'm saying that is, don't think he lives in a big mansion, played modern day football and luxurious surrounded with big swimming, but it's not that. This guy is tough for his family especially. But it's tough for Pat, but obviously his family has to raise the funds every year and have to find outlets that fund them. They have never, I keep saying it, they've never asked me personally to raise funds for Parky. I've done it off my own back. 86 lads have done it off their own back. They'll all agree to come and they'll all be there in the night. Ted Newcastle fan says, top 4 finish and a trophy in the cabinet would be a remarkable turnaround achievement for Newcastle without a doubt. Jim Borough fan says, I'm in the Legends Lounge on Saturday for QPR game at Riverside. Who's your guest? This is only my 4th time over the years I've been in the Legends. The first guest I seen was Pallister. The second was Chubby Brown, dear me. And third was Malcolm McDonald. I can't tell you. I'll have a guest, obviously. I've always got a guest. Don't have to get guests. Don't get paid. Guests don't get paid, but I'll get them. Great show, Bernie. Good night. Cheers, Graham. Thanks for joining. Andy Sunderland fan says, is it true your first striking partner at Borough was a Sunderland legend? Andy Sunderland fan. Yeah, I tell you who you're referring to. You're referring to Gary Rill. Yeah, Gary Rill. I wasn't aware of Gary. Don't forget, I'm a totally unknown. Arrive in Teesside, nobody knows me. I don't know anybody. I'm all involved in Scottish football. Don't know anything about English. I've never even heard of Middlesbrough when I came. That's me being brutally honest. Anyway, Gary Rill, unknown to me, had scored over 100 goals for Sunderland, including a hat-trick against Newcastle in a derby game. How good is that? So the answer is yes. What time? I've just overrode. Akpom still, this is Bob the Borough fan. Akpom still in queue, 20 league goals, Bernie. What do you think? Well, of course, he's got 15 games left. He's got 16 goals, 15 games left. To match me, you need 5. Can he get that in 15 games? Of course he can. I mean, Saturday he missed a chance, but that happens. Yeah. Great to see Newcastle United players. No, I mentioned that wearing the black. I've mentioned that. I mentioned him, sorry. So anyway, Newcastle's next game is home to Liverpool on the 18th of Feb. Borough, obviously, this Wednesday, the 15th. Sunderland at home to QPR tomorrow night. Hartlepool are away at Crewe tomorrow night. Darlington's next game is on Saturday. They're away at Leamington. Looking at top scorers before we go. Top scorers, obviously, Akpom, we know, has got 17, 16 League 1 in the Cup. Almiron scored at the weekend. He's got 10. Stewart's got 11. Sims has got 7, but Sims was playing tonight for Everton against Liverpool up front. That lone striker, very hard job. Stewart's 11, but out for the season. So Diallo's got 7. He's got a chance of being top scorer. Hartlepool's Joshua Umery, is it? He's got 13. And Darlington, Matt Beckton and Jacob Hazel, both in 15. So let's hope there's more goals coming up. Good luck to the North East teams for now over the weekend. I'm back again, Facebook Live, doing this, talking about the Borough v Sheffield United game. Thanks for joining us. And thanks as always to the sponsors. Thank you very much. Cheers. Good luck.